Hey there, it's Elizabeth and welcome back. I hope y'all are doing well. Today I'm going to answer the question that has been asked quite a lot on my channel and on the Facebook groups that I belong to. And that question is, what is a Fauxbonichi? So what you're looking at here is 1 year's worth of Fauxbonichis. And this was the first year I did journaling the Fauxbonichi style, and this was back in 2015. So I'm going to answer the question, hopefully, in this video. What is a Fauxbonichi? Kind of where it came from, the origins of it, a little background information on it, and my hope is that it inspires you to start your own Fauxbonichi. The Fauxbonichi is a type of journaling, which I will get into, but let's go back in time, back to the early 2000s, and discuss where the term Fauxbonichi came from, okay? I don't believe Fauxbonichi really came into being until somewhere around 2014, maybe earlier. But so let's look at the term Fauxbonichi. F-A-U-X means fake, okay? So it is a fake bonichi, and bonichi comes from the Japanese term hobonichi. And what a hobonichi is a diary of sorts. It actually came into being in Japan. It originated in Japan, the Hobonichi, back in the early 2000s, okay? So what a Hobonichi is a Japanese form of a diary. It's actually the name brand of a diary. Now, there are two ways to look at the word diary, okay? As some people in other countries, when you say the term diary, it actually means a planner, a calendar, a place to put your appointments, okay? That's what a diary means in some areas. To me, in my mind, what a diary is or means is that cute little pink Little Pony book that had a lock and a key on it, and you shoved it underneath your mattress and you wrote about things that you never wanted people to see or read. You wrote about your innermost thoughts. You wrote about the guys or the gals you had crushes on, that kind of thing. That's what I think of when I think of diary. I think of Dear Diary. You know, today was a great day, or whatever. But the term diary in other places actually means a planner, an appointment book, somewhere to put down lists, things like that. Okay, so back to the Hobonichi. Excuse me. It originated in Japan, like I said, back in about 2002, I think, somewhere in the early 2000s. Okay, so this is, I'm sorry for the shadow, but this is just a very, crappy copy of a page that I got off Google of a spread in the actual Hobonichi, okay? So the Hobonichi generally, I think they have two distinct characteristics, okay? One of them is that this is the format, okay? They have a header at the top, which includes the day of the week, the actual day, the number day of the week, the day of the week, the month of the year, the actual week in terms of which week of the year it is, the moon phase, and then they have a whole section here that is graph paper. And then at the bottom here, they have a quote, okay? And then over here, they have these index tabs. So this says number 4, and that means that you're in the 4th month, okay? And so if you look on the side of a Hobonichi, you'll see that there are little index not tabs because they don't stick out, but little index markers, okay, to mark which month. The other characteristic of the Hobonichi is that it is made of Tomoe River paper. I've never owned Tomoe River paper. That's a hard word to pronounce. Sorry, there's the share. But I have heard wonderful things about it. You can actually order Tomoe River paper online. And yeah, it's just great paper. It holds up to wet media really well. I've heard great things about it. So those are the two characteristics that I can think of that are very specific to the Japanese Hobonichi. Okay. Now, let's talk about where the Fauxbonichi came in. Okay. Back when the Hobonichi came into being, okay, it was a Japanese book. It still is a Japanese book. However, back then you could only order it by ordering it in Japan, through Japan. And it was very cost prohibitive from what I understand. I have never owned a Hobonichi. So, I've never had one in my hands or anything like that. So I'm only going off of what I've seen on YouTube channels, what I've researched online. So back then in the early 2000s, it was just very cost prohibitive to own your own Hobonichi. They were very expensive to import and get them over here. Nowadays, however, you can go online to Amazon.com and you can get a Hobonichi Techo. And they also now come in English, whereas before when they first started out, you could only get them in Japan or from Japan, and they were in Japanese. So now they sell them here through Amazon, and they do have an English form of it, okay? Now, back up a little bit again, because when the Hobonichi started gaining popularity and all of that, and people were kind of not resistant to buying it, but it was difficult to purchase it. Nobody wanted to spend $80 to $100 on a journal for 1 year. So somebody, in all their brilliance, I have no idea who it was, in all the research I did about the Fauxbonichi, I could date it going back to about 2014, and then certain blogs that I had read, like after reading for an hour on various, websites and blog posts and everything like that, I just started seeing people that were, I'm sure there was an original person who made up the Fauxbonichi. I don't know who that person is. But as I was doing my research, I noticed that pretty soon people were copying and pasting what everyone else had kind of written. So I never did come to a conclusion on where it got started or who started it. So because the Hobonichi was expensive to get here, again, somebody in all their brilliance said to themselves, I can do that. I can do it myself, right? So that is actually what a Fauxbonichi is. It is a DIY Hobonichi. It is a do-it-yourself Hobonichi, okay? Now, another question I run across a lot is, what type of book should I use? What type of pen should I use? Okay, that's one of the things that I love about the Fauxbonichi is it's anything you want it to be, okay? I happen to use composition notebooks that I alter, okay? In more recent years, I pretty much stick to Staples brand gridded notebooks, okay? And then I alter them. All this whole first year, I had some gridded notebooks in here. Some of them were from Dollar Tree, some were from Walmart, and some were just regular lined, okay? Now, the reason I started using the composition books is because that's what I had readily available, all right? Now, if you want another video on my whole process and all of that stuff, what I think, my personal views on doing the Fauxbonichi, how I got started, all of that kind of jazz, leave a link below and I'll be sure to try to get, another video up for you. But this video is strictly on what a Fauxbonichi is, okay? So that's what I want to concentrate on. Now, I do want to read to you, and I hope it's not boring, but I do want to read to you an excerpt that I found, and this is it's a message from Hobonichi editor-in-chief, and his name is Shigesato Itoi. Okay, hope I pronounced that right. I'm not very fluent in Japanese. Okay, so back in 2015, he did an interview about the Hobonichi Techo. All right, And in 2015, it marked the 14th year since they first created the Hobonichi Techo. And that is actually the book itself. So he says, as I reflect on the Hobonichi Techo, I'm starting to think it's growing out of its own definition as a planner. See, the original intent of the Hobonichi Techo was a planner. So then he continues on with, it's more than just a schedule book to keep appointments. And it's not quite a diary, nor is it just a notebook. So I just kind of wonder what it really is. And then he goes on to explain it. So the first thing, and these are his words, the first thing I think of is how a user writes about his life in the Hobonichi Techo. Life is a bigger sense, and life is an everyday sense. Turn this into a verb and you get live, which brings you to all kind of meanings. Living in a home, living your life path, and even live in person. In other words, the word life has two meanings to it. One that's on the smaller scale with every little moment, and one that refers to the grander scheme of things. I find it amazing that it can encompass all that. And when I look at people's techos, I realized the same thing is happening. If you were to rip out every daily page from your Hobonichi Techo, line it up on a huge floor, one single day would look like just a single measly page within a huge sea of paper. But maybe one page will say, ate pork chops today, and another will say, had a baby. And some of the pages will be blank. All of these stand as records of things you personally experienced in your life. And if you stack all these things on top of each other like a pastry, you can say, this is my life. I don't know if this serves as a good example or not, but the other day I read a techo by a professional baseball player who recorded his daily life. I was expecting a professional ball player to be thinking about baseball all the time and writing about it in his techo. But instead, he wrote things like, my dog is so cute, and my dog laid on my chest. No sign of baseball anywhere. But all lumped together, that's who that person is. Not many people in the world live a life that even sounds like some sort of biography, but living the life that's written in your techo, working, playing, getting angry, laughing, that's what it really means to live. And each person's techo with their life written on the pages, well, that's your autobiography. It just so happens that you have no way of distributing it to the masses, and each person has just one copy of their own. Maybe someone will want to read your book, and maybe you'll read back on it in the future. Book, the term book, generally refers to something that has already been printed, but the Hobonichi Techo is a book that's ready for reading after the fact. So this is a book that contains each person's year. It's a single volume in a vast collection, but there's something really comforting to know that everyone in the world has one. At the same time, we can feel that everyone in the world deserves to be cherished by someone, and that includes both yourself and others. So, starting today, let's give the Hobonichi Techo a new definition. It's a life book. You're the author, and you're writing this book for the very first time. So those are the words of the editor-in-chief, Itoi, and it was a message from him about the Hobonichi Techo. But in reading all of that, that's exactly, obviously, what a Fauxbonichi is, because it is based off of the idea of the Hobonichi. It's just not the actual Hobonichi book itself. It is a do-it-yourself book, but the idea behind it is exactly the same. So within all of these pages, all of these beautiful pages that I love and I poured my heart into, this is my life. You know, this is my life in the year 2015. It is my autobiography. It records my daily events. And that, in essence, is what a Fauxbonichi is. It is a journal that you record your everyday occurrences. Okay. No matter whether they're exciting, no matter whether they're mundane. It depends upon you and what you want to put into your book. Okay. So that, in a nutshell, okay, is what a Fauxbonichi is. It's a place to put all of your memories, your daily memories. Typically, a Fauxbonichi is done 1 page per day. If you're going based on the Hobonichi, which was the original, I believe, the original intent of the Fauxbonichi, okay? Now, over the years, it really has evolved into much more than that. Typically, in the original Hobonichi, people would, use a black pen and they would write about their day, and then they might draw over in the corner a little picture of what they had for dinner or their little puppy dog or whatever the case was. It's basically an illustrated journal, okay? So over the years of doing the Fauxbonichi, even myself included, I started out one way and then I ended up totally a different way, still using the same book, but just changing my style around, okay? So yeah, now a lot of Fauxbonichis are basically creative journaling. So what people do nowadays is they use their Fauxbonichis as a creative outlet. They do their journaling and they write about their everyday memories, because that is the central theme of a Fauxbonichi, is that you write about your daily events, okay? So around those daily events, people might choose to paint a picture. They might choose to add tip-ins in. They might choose to journal on journaling cards. They might choose to collage on their page. They might choose to do special lettering on their page. There are so many different things you can do in this book to illustrate and decorate and have fun and be creative about your everyday life. And so that is basically what a Fauxbonichi is. And I am now in my fourth year. I think in one of my other videos I said I was in my third year, but I've been doing it since January of 2015, and I'm currently on my 20th book. Okay, I have written well over 1,000 pages over the last 3.3 years. And it's my life. It's my autobiography, and I love it. So if you would like another video showing you kind of my progression in each book, I know this has been boring to look at. Hopefully you all are like, just putting me off into the background and listening to me since I'm not really showing anything. But if you would like a video of the way that my style has changed, the way that I started out and the way that I'm doing it now, and kind of a month, not really month by month, because that would take forever, but a step-by-step kind of walk through my journaling, I'd be happy to do that for you. I also have that I will put in the link below. I do have a series on how I do my altered books for my Fauxbonichi, so I'll link that below. Otherwise, as far as the links go, I'm not really going to put very many as far as, Fauxbonichi, because if you simply type into the YouTube search engine or the YouTube search bar, Fauxbonichi, you will get a plethora of videos to watch, okay? There are numerous people on YouTube that do Fauxbonichi flips. In a lot of my videos, I refer to those people and have their links in my videos, but all you have to do is type in Fauxbonichi into the search on YouTube, and you will have enough videos for days to sit and watch for days. So anyway, yeah. Also, you can look on Facebook for Fauxbonichi groups. Now, the group that I belong to personally is called Fauxbonichi Journalers on Facebook. I will link it below. it's a wonderful group. I've been a member since the group started, the day it started. So, yeah, I've been a member of that group for 4 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. And so if you're interested in that, go ahead and pop on over to that Facebook page. Also, you can just type in Fauxbonichi in Facebook, and I'm sure that there are other sites that are specific to Fauxbonichi-ing. Okay, so anywho, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you want a video walkthrough of my years in Fauxbonichi-ing. And yeah, I hope I answered your question about what exactly a Fauxbonichi is. If you have any other questions, give me a holler. Put your questions down below and let me know. So yeah, I will catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.